Hey, welcome to Dirt and Trail. Today we'll be giving our first detailed ride impression of the new CRF 300L off-road on a range of terrains and trails. As you'll see, we've had the bike for about 2 weeks now, so we've just about done enough to bed in the tyres, and this will be the first time we'll be putting them through their paces properly off the road. So enjoy. So we've just stopped after coming up our first lane. After 15 miles or so on the road, we're now off the road. Done a couple of boggy sections. Andy, what are your initial thoughts?
Initial thoughts, okay, so there's a few things to mention. There's a few things that I've found particularly. One is with the controls, the clutch lever is a little bit far away for anybody who's got small hands. So that is a problem because I'm having to reach forwards and change my body position to feather the clutch. The handlebars, they could do with being a little bit higher. That's my opinion.
How tall are you, Andy?
I'm 5'9", but I do have short arms like a T-Rex. So I could do with them lifting about an inch or so. I reckon would be nice. I've got a phone there on the front which we use in the View Ranger app, and that's it's doing really well, and it happens to keep the cables off the clock, so I've got a better view actually having this on there than I would have normally. Whereas
on my bike I don't have the phone, and as you can see the cable does cut across the TFT screen somewhat, especially when you're sat down.
Okay, one of the good things I found with it is being nice and slim here across the seat area gives you lots of room to move around and balance as you're going over the rough stuff.
I'd definitely say the slimmer tank definitely makes it feel very light. Even if it's not light, it certainly feels manoeuvrable enough. Did you find the same?
Yeah, I found the same. Okay, a couple of things extra. The tyres seem to be performing okay at the moment. They don't have the traction that you would get from an enduro or motocross tyre, but they seem to be coping with everything so far. And it is actually, although it looks sunny, it's quite slippy here today, and the actual ground itself is quite wet.
Hang on. So Andy, how do you feel that the other controls for your feet, for example, and getting to the gear lever and brake lever?
Yeah, so what I found foot-wise, foot controls, they're nice. Pedals are nice and wide, they give you plenty of grip. So I don't, at the moment, feel like I would need to improve those.
And given the boots that Andy's using, these here, he has absolutely no marks on his frame as yet. However, using my motocross style boots, I certainly have got the start of some scratches, so frame guards definitely a necessary or a must.
And the only other thing I can think of, just looking at the front of Gary's bike, is we are going to need a bash plate at some point.
Yeah, good point. There's no one coming as far as I can see. Yeah, I'm thinking exactly the same. Oh, look at this. I think when we came through here last time, there was no water in the street. It's standing up. I like it, I like it. That momentum, you should be able to go through pretty much anything.
So we've just pulled in off the trails, nice little sandwich stop, have a little drink. So Gary, what are your thoughts so far?
Well, after our initial impressions, I thought I'd talk about the power. So 27 horsepower, 20 foot-pound of torque this year, or on the 300. It doesn't try to pull your arms off. It's not going to do anything too unexpected, so I can completely see why it's definitely a good bike for beginners or first-time riders. I think after 30 miles or so, we've certainly got used to the bike already, and I feel like I'm really at home. So the gearing, I was definitely a doubter as to the gearing, because when we first pulled away on the roads, it was very low. First gear was all but useless. Andy proved earlier that we can pull away in fifth gear. So on the road, it certainly felt like it was too low and wouldn't be very fit for purpose. But since hitting the trails, it's almost been the opposite. So although we're still sort of running in, so we haven't been able to get up to the supposed top speed of 82-ish, but it has meant that we can use the power using that gearing on the trails. So doing really slow speeds of, you know, even as 2-3 miles an hour, the slipper clutch function, as well as the light clutch and the gearing, certainly makes for an easy ride going really slowly. So I think we can probably get down to nearly 1 mile an hour, with a couple of miles an hour, without feeling like the bike is chugging or starting to stall. And going through some of these trails, doing only up to about 20 miles an hour, that's been a really important factor, and again quite confidence inspiring for the short time that we've been riding.
Is there anything you want to mention about the ABS?
Yeah, we have found that the ABS is switchable, but not switchable while you're going. So you don't need the bike switched off. It can be switched on, but if you are moving, you cannot turn the ABS off. We spent lots of time
Or on, for that matter.
Spent lots of time trying to figure that out. So yeah, handy to know.
So what are your first thoughts on using this bike for, say, the Trans-Euro Trail?
Given what we've just done, I think it'd be perfect. We can cruise in 6th gear at 45 miles an hour. A lot of the Trans-Euro Trail will be a little bit faster than what we're doing, so there'll be more wiggle room to be able to use different gears, as opposed to being really slow as we're doing at the moment. So I would say our initial thoughts, because we are going to be doing the TET in the UK, that it's going to fit the bill perfectly. We've been doing trails of up to 20 miles an hour, so fairly slowly, through all different kinds of terrain, over steps, logs, etc, etc, and it's been compliant. It's done everything we've asked of it. So really no complaints. However, there is a but, and because the suspension is so soft, that means that when you start going faster and starting to hit obstacles going probably over 20 miles an hour, you start to really feel how soft the suspension is, and also, as well as what you see is what you get. There is no adjustment, front or rear, compression or rebound. That means that it behaves how it does, and that's it. So one of the disadvantages to being so soft means that when the bike has my weight and I'm stood, I like to be stood a lot, so when I'm stood up, a lot of the travel is already used. So the forks have 10mm extra travel, and I think 20mm on the rear, but that's used up instantly as soon as the bike takes my weight. So hopping over some of the logs and things that we've navigated today, which appear to be quite easy, especially with the hired ground clearance, means that they actually weren't so easy, and I've ground out a couple of times when I wasn't expecting it. So definitely going to need a bash plate, especially for the riding that we're going to be doing, and hopefully there'll be lots coming on the market. We're having some conversations with some suppliers now, so stay posted for that. I think it's going to be. So Andy, what was your first impression?
Pleasantly surprised, everything I thought. Suspension is very soft.
Suspension is very soft.
But saying that, it just soaks up anything on the road, you know. Potholes, lumps of mud. Gearing?
I thought the gearing felt low.
Yeah.
I hit 6th gear at about 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's kind
at
of
about 3,500 revs.
It's kind of an overdrive, really, isn't it? The 6th gear.
I think first gear feels very short. So you could gear it up, but obviously you'd be losing some of the acceleration.
Yeah.
Although I did manage to put a wheelie.
To lift the front end in a controlled manner.
It's plenty fast enough for that.
Yeah, so that'll answer a few critics, I would imagine.
Clutch unbelievably light, brakes
Yeah.
feel okay but not bedded in. Pegs are wonderful.
Yeah, I thought they were
Stood
great.
up, really
and
nice.
the seat as well, I found
Seat really comfy.
pretty comfy, yeah.
You can sit at the front of it or at the back of it. Handlebars a little bit too low for me, but I
Yeah.
am 6 foot.
No, me as well. They just seem a bit low, like a new bar risers.
Yeah, definitely.
Mirrors
worthwhile
are
investment.
just, you know, they give you a good view of the road, so they did their job. TFT,
TFT scheme great. Gear indicator very welcome.
a bike you get on and feel almost at home very quickly. It's very easy to manage. What I found turning round in the lane was the steering lock and the turning circle was
Very
great.
good.
It was very
Yeah.
good. If
Yeah,
you full lock it, you know, a couple of turns you're back round again.
Yeah, I would agree. Very easy to jump straight on. Clutch speed really light, pulls away really nice. I don't think I would change the exhaust for the sound, maybe for performance reasons, but the sound would be plenty good.
No, it's
enough.
absolutely fine. Brakes,
I did a
still
skid.
bedding in.
I did a skid, so I know that the ABS is turn offable, and I did do a little skid.
I left it on and tried to skid, and I could feel it kicking in. So yeah, front end you need to squeeze them at the moment, but they're still bedding in. It's a new bike. We'll see how that goes. That's what it says on the tin.
Yeah, that's right.
Good bike.